This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so what is Prometheus? So Prometheus is one of the important SRE tool, and this is primarily we use for infrastructure monitoring. This is something we use it, and this is very popular uh, in 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 most of the time in Kubernetes area. So that is something which we should focus on it. So any projects if you join, you will find Prometheus is used. Uh,
This
Hi, what a
conference will
network
now
issue.
be recorded.
So yeah, I can able to hear you now.
okay, so uh, so one of the tool which we are trying to learn is Prometheus. Now, when I look at the Prometheus, um, just a second, hold on. Yeah. So when I look at the Prometheus, I see one specific types of monitoring. So when I say specific types of monitoring, that means if you remember, we have observability and then observability which have infra monitoring, log monitoring, and trace monitoring. So these are the three types of monitoring we have. And when we talk about the Prometheus is basically infra monitoring, and that is where that it's very popular in the Kubernetes world. So yes, Prometheus is a open source monitoring solution, and the one of the advantage of the Prometheus is basically time series database. That means it is not storing everything. I mean all the stats uh, in a way which other tools stored. It's stored in the time series database. Now, what is a time series database? So the data will be stored at a certain interval instead of all the data. That is in a short term, in short way. If you want, I want to explain it to you. So Prometheus is 100% open source and community driven, and all components are available under Apache 2 license on GitHub. Now, this is a project which is driven by Cloud Native Computing Foundation, CNCF. In fact, Kubernetes is a product which has been driven by Cloud Native only. So yeah, benefit of CNCF ecosystem, that is the reason I said Prometheus primarily used for the Kubernetes monitoring, because Kubernetes is also from CNCF, Prometheus is also from CNCF. So they have a great integration between the components, a lot of values provided for free, and a standardized solution for with good support. So this is some advantage which we get it from the Prometheus because of CNCF product. So yes, it's open source system monitoring and alerting toolkit, originally built at SoundCloud, and now it is a standalone open source project maintained independently of any companies. So it is written in Golang. So the moment I say Golang, that means you can run Prometheus in Windows, Linux, Mac, wherever you want it, because Go is platform independent. So yeah, in summary, Cloud Native Computing Foundation graduated project, optimized for time series data, built in service discovery. Service discovery means, let's say in Kubernetes we have hundreds of services which we create, right? And how do we monitor it automatically? It should be automatically detected. So for that we have a built-in service discovery and flexible query language. So Prometheus we have a we call it a PromQL. PromQL means Prometheus query language. So let's say if you have a SQL database, right? So how do we write? I mean, how do we query? So you write a SQL query, right? For that. So similarly, Prometheus we have a PromQL, Prometheus query language, that is very flexible and very easy to learn. And at the same time, uh, it's very easy to understand also. Prometheus has a numerous integration, which I'll talk about it. And one of the most important part of the Prometheus is Prometheus works in a pull model. Okay, so and uses HTTP and plain text. So this is something which we have Prometheus. So this is something which we discuss. So now in Prometheus, typically what kind of data is being stored? So Prometheus, we have a time series database. and the format of the time series database, you can see that over there. That is being stored in metric, name, label, and sample. So I'll share some of the more samples of the time series database in upcoming slides, but it's being shared in the key and value pairs. Okay, so some of the features of the Prometheus is like, again, a multi-dimensional data model with the time series data identified by metric, name, and key value pairs. The PromQL, the one which I was talking about, flexible query language to leverage this dimensionality, and no reliance on distributed storage. That means there is one disadvantage which you have is Prometheus you cannot set up. I mean, core component not allowing any set up any distributed storage. Single server node are autonomous. Now, times reach collection happens via pull model over HTTP, and pushing times is supported through the intermediate gateway. Targets are discovered by a service discovery or static configuration. Multiple modes of graphing and dashboarding supports are available. Now, which are the company? Those who are using the Prometheus. So these are the organizations primarily they are using Prometheus. So now, which kind of monitoring tool Prometheus is? White box or black box? White box, because it is pulling the matrices. Pull or push? Pull. Okay, by HTTP. So that means Prometheus server will pull the matrices from the various remote endpoints. The protocol is HTTP protocol. Real time or historical? So historical because it has lag of few seconds. So which one is right? Pull or push, white box or black box? Both are right. Depends on the context and so yes. White Prometheus is a pull based white box and historical data it capture. Any questions so far, all of you?
Yes, Raj. So when we say that no, it cannot support a distributed systems, which means that the Prometheus can be installed in only one server or one system, is it?
Yes, the Prometheus cannot be set up, but integrations are available for storage. TSDB, I mean, multiple you can do with a third-party integration. But when I talk about the core feature of Prometheus, it do not allow that distributed data clustering environment. That means you have to have one servers for node where all the data is being stored actually.
Right. And for the time series database, let's say no, there are multiple time series database available in the market. So which time series database does this Prometheus support?
Yeah. So by default, there is one engine which is called OpenTSDV. So using OpenTSDV, multiple engine has been created. Prometheus uses the same one actually, free version of TSDV actually. So
TSDB.
there are tens of, let me show you. So there are so many options are available uh, for time series database, but this is using Open. This is the one. So if you look at these are the uh, multiple options are available. So out of which Prometheus, the one which is coming on the third in the, uh, they are using OpenTSDV actually, which is a free.
Okay, okay. So Prometheus is not a database. It supports the Open TSDB database. It can
I'll put it
integrate.
in. I'll put it in this way. Prometheus actually is a database only, but because it is designed, I mean, it's OpenTSDV. The code has been copied in a way, uh, you know, so it support, uh, many other features. Like it's become basically it's not a database. It's you can say like the kind of feature which you have got it, which is allowing you to create an infrastructure for monitoring infrastructure for Kubernetes primarily actually. So
Okay,
Open TSDB database has been used and modified in a way to address the infrastructure requirement. Uh, for Kubernetes ecosystem, CNCF organizations.
Okay. So Prometheus a monitoring tool, something like similar New Relic, is it? Or a
No,
Datadog?
Neuralink and Datadog is a completely different area altogether. Neuralink and Datadog, they have a complete feature. They have infrastructure monitoring, they have log monitoring, they have synthetic, they have uh, APM, they have RAM, they have alerting, dashboarding, everything they have it. Prometheus is not having so enriched feature. That's the reason I said Prometheus is only addressing the infrastructure monitoring part of.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of architecture, we have a server which scraps and store the time series data, and then we have exporter. Now, what is exporter? So exporter you can consider as like an agent, okay? And these agents will help you to, this agent will help you to collect the data and expose the data at certain endpoint. What is that? So let me show you some image because we need to understand this one in easy way. So let's say this is a Prometheus server, and these are the 1 and 2 servers which we have. Now the question is what you want to monitor. That is important thing. So here, let's say you want to monitor Apache, and here you want to pull the Apache metrics, and here you want to pull the Linux metrics. So for every tool, there are certain exporters which is available, which we have in hundreds of which. Hundreds of exporters are there. So one of the exporters we have is like Apache exporter, and one of the exporter which we call it a node exporter, which is for Linux matrix. So this exporter we run it, and this exporter will ask all the matrices and publish at certain endpoint. This exporter will ask this matrix and publish at certain endpoint, and this is the Prometheus server will pull from this endpoint and this endpoints. So in that way, you may have a multiple endpoint depends on what kind of data you are pushing, you are making it available, and this guy can pull
So
from.
it is a pull based server, is it? It's not a push based, right?
No, yeah, it's a pull based. It will pull from the one HTTP. So HTTP endpoint will be created by this exporter. So
Okay.
you have hundreds of exporter. I want to show you this is Prometheus exporter. So here this page, all the exporters which is supported. In GitHub you will find some free one also, but here you have hundreds of exporter. For example, Docker. So there is a one exporter for it. Linux, Windows. Yeah. Let's say Apache, Tomcat. Tomcat till Java will work. Here it is.
So
So
exporters have to store the data till the Prometheus server pulls it, right? How
yeah,
is that being done?
yeah. So Prometheus exporter is one executable which we need to run and configure in the place where you have a data. And
Hmm.
this exporter will fetch the data from Apache or Linux or Windows or whatever it is, and make it
Okay.
available at certain endpoints all the time. And the Prometheus server will pull from every 15 seconds. That is a default setting. We can change
Okay.
that also. So like that. So that is the exporter.
Okay.
Now here you have a push gateway. So what is push gateway? So sometime what happens, uh, this because Prometheus server cannot access these endpoints directly because of certain limitation in the network or something. So what happens? We set up one temporary push gateway where it is accessible. So push gateway is utility which we need to configure in one different machine, and this exporter will push to here and here, and this guy will temporarily store it, and from this guy to this guy you can do the push gateway. I mean pull the content. So push gateway is used where all the matrices can be forwarded, and push gateway will store for temporary, and then finally um, Prometheus server will take it up. Now client library is little bit different. You need to understand this. So client library, it's a different. See, uh, Apache Windows matrix, Apache matrix, Tomcat matrix, MySQL matrix. These are the matrices which is well known. And for that we have a exporter. But this is your code application. Think about it, your code. And this code also you have certain metrics like number of orders which you happen. This code inside that class method, whichever is being called. So you want certain metrics to be captured at here, so you can use for the visualizations. So what to do? So for that, client library is there. So client
Raj, I'm
library is, yeah,
slightly confused here. Prometheus, to my understanding, it's an infra monitoring tool, right? And
yeah.
now we are talking about the application code level metrics. So will it monitor
Ah,
CPU memory
no.
and that infra?
Okay. So infra, okay. So see, there is a three types of data we have. M for matrix, L for logs, and T for trace. I am not talking about in this sense as in log and trace. When I say code level, then probably you are thinking trace. No, I'm saying like matrix. For example, let's say this code has run hundreds of times and it has generated hundreds of order. So I want this number of orders to be stored here. Or I want, let's say, out of 100 orders, 80 orders got successful, 20 orders got failed. So I want to store here. How do we do that? So code level. I mean, whatever the code you have run it, you want certain custom metrics. You can call it custom metrics. See, Apache is very well known. Tomcat is well known. Java is well known. MySQL is well known. Linux is well known. Windows is well known. But this is your product, right? No one knows about this. What you want, what you don't want. For this code level, you need to write a code for it. And for that, they have given a libraries. Okay. Prometheus has provided libraries, and 5 supported libraries are there in programming language: Java, Java, Python, and C++ and all kind of things, Ruby and all. So for that you need to write a code, and code will help you to gather the matrix and create an endpoint, and Prometheus will pull from that endpoint. So I'll put
Okay.
it in this way. If the tools are known, so community have written exporter. If certain custom metrics which is not known, because that's your product, right? So for that you have to write a code using client libraries. Make sense?
Yes, Raj, yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So alert manager, I think you can understand simple. These all are the different component. The Prometheus, everything is like a plug and play. So whichever feature you want it, you can one executable has been given, like alert manager, one executable, push gateway, one executable, hundreds of exporters are there, and Prometheus there is one executable. So like that. So whichever you wanted. So these are the fundamental components which you have. Now something similar which I showed you, this has been drawn. Prometheus server. There's a push gateway. Short-lived matrix is sent to push gateway. Prometheus server is pulling. Long-lived means Windows, Linux, Apache, Tomcat, MySQL and all. And this is the Prometheus server which is storing everything. And Prometheus server has a very lightweight utility for visualizations. Okay, so that is very lightweight utility. So now for that, what we can use. So we are using Grafana. Grafana is one tool which is a separate tool, by the way. Grafana has been from Grafana company. Prometheus is from CNC. Both are different product, but Grafana is very popular in terms of graphing, and not only Prometheus, but you can use graphing any other tools also, any tools actually, and alert managers and all stuff like that. So this is the simple architecture. If you look at this, there's a 3 servers, one in database, Windows, application. All are publishing the matrices at certain endpoints. And Prometheus, if you look at the arrow, pulling from the different endpoints like this. So Prometheus collects metrics from monitor target by scraping matrix, HTTP endpoints and all. Okay, so this is something which we have. Now this is the official architecture which we have. So if you look at this little carefully, you'll understand this. So here the Prometheus server is there, and these are the components which you have. Storage, where all the time series database stored. We have to create a rules, alerts, rules, scrapping endpoints, service discovery, and these are the exporter installed. Here one application is there which you have instrumented using client libraries, some third-party application, alert manager, dashboard, and all. These all are the components. Alert manager can be configured with a PagerDuty, chat, email, whatever it is. This is one more official image here you see, and here TSDB you see. This is the open source version of uh, time series database actually. Okay, so you see alert manager component, which is can be configured the PagerDuty, email, and all. And for graphing, either you can use the Prometheus web UI, which is a default one, but very basics. But others you can use the Grafana, Kivana, and all kind of things. And here he is pulling from the push gateway or exporters and all. Okay, so all of you understood? Any questions?
No.
Okay, so in terms of terminologies, more or less we understand. There's the matrices, client library. So client library is important you to understand. Primarily is for the custom matrix. Let's say some matrix, for that you don't have exporter, so you will use client library. For client library, uh, you need to start writing a program. Let's say if your application in Java, then Java, then if in Go, Python, Ruby, these are supported one. So exporter, I showed you so many exporter places where collectors is a part of exporter. Endpoint where all the matrices are available, and every endpoints they're making all the matrices available with some instance name and job. I'll show you this one, you'll understand that. So here this is the format of time series database. So here if you see, at let's say T1 is like 15 seconds, at certain values was captured, second time certain value was captured, T3 certain value was captured, and so on. So these are the things I can ignore it. So these matrices which you see, which is captured by Prometheus, you see here, there is a, look at it very carefully. There is one metric name, go underscore mem stats alloc bytes, and this is tagged with instance and job. See here, instance job, which I was showing you here, instance job. So every matrix you will find these two tags by default. You can add a more also, but by default it will capture that which particular host name and what is the name of the job. And the value which you see here, this value can be 4 type. Here matrix type in Prometheus, it can be counter, it can be Gauss, it can be histogram, and it can be summary. So these are the 4 types. This value which you see here, right, this one, it can be in a 4 types. So counter, what is this? So counter is a kind of number which always increases. For example, number of total order, which will never go down, right? It will always go up, or number of total request. So that kind of value, which is called counter data type. Simple number always increases, used for incrementing matrices and so on. Now another one is gauge. Gauge can go up and down, increase or decrease. What kind of data it can be gauge? So it can be your CPU, memory, and all disk and all kind of things. It can go up and down, something like that. And then we do have two more. We have histogram and summary. This is used for group of samples, which can record counts of samples and total, used for quantiles like a percentile and all, not supported by all clients. So histogram, again, histogram, you have a client libraries to implement, and summary also you have client libraries to implement. Okay, so examples, if you see that, counters like a request a total or errors total. Gauge, it can be memory free bytes or user online, it can go up and down. Histogram, a request latency seconds bucket, or request latency second summary and all. So these are the things. I'm just ignoring some of the stuff which you not find useful. Yeah. Okay, so some of the things I'll show you the demo, it will be more useful. So this document is very important. Here it is. All this exporter which you have, you should go and spend some time, because we have plenty of it and stuff like that. Yeah. So any questions so far, all of you?
Rajesh, are you explaining, say, like, how you want for the application, how you configure the Prometheus from end to end so that, you can see
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
content?
Yeah, yeah. Demo is pending actually. So
Okay.
demo is pending right now. So here, what this was the discussion. So now how to configure from server. Okay. Now how to set up exporter, then using with alert manager, rules. We have two kind of rules. One is like record rule, and another one is alert rule. So this I'll show the demo, and the final we'll install the Grafana and visualize everything. So these are the things we'll do that. Okay, any other questions?